What if you can take your existing products and sell them on other platforms and add another 5 or even 6 figures to your top line revenue? Would that be interesting? If it is, you're going to want to stick around, because this episode, we're going to be breaking down the international selling experiment for more sales. Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Amazing Seller Podcast. This is episode number 788. My name is Scott Volker, and I'm here to help you build a future-proof business so you can create the ultimate freedom. But, and there's always a but, you must take what you learn from this podcast and take action. And you can become the amazing seller of your life. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do this. All right. Well, this is going to be exciting. I am excited because I've got my good friend on, Mr. Kevin Sanderson, and he is going to be telling us a little bit about this international selling experiment to help us get more sales with our physical products. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, my man?
Scott, I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's a little bit long overdue. You and I have talked back and forth about doing this episode, and we're really excited to kind of share what we've been brainstorming about, because I think now that your last year has kind of come to a close and we can kind of see some of these numbers, it's pretty exciting. And really, I want you to be able to dive in and share with people what this looks like, if it's even for them, as far as taking your existing products and then leveraging other platforms. And we're going to be mainly talking about international platforms. I'm a big fan of doing less work, but getting more done. And that also includes getting more sales if we can, by leveraging our existing assets. So with that all being said, where should we start here to kind of get people up to speed with what you've been up to and kind of like this little experiment that we're talking about here?
Yes. So I've been doing a little experiment here of selling internationally, really kind of early on. So it's not necessarily like a new thing.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is it's been an ongoing growing thing in my business. In fact, last year, it's a little bit more than last year now. So over a year ago, I left my job.
Yes.
So 2019, I went in, so I could say what the experiment here is that I left the job and went into full-time entrepreneurship. And the interesting thing is my sales for the year on Amazon.com were about flat year over year. So in the US, they're flat, but internationally, they increased year over year. So I got about an extra 30% growth. And so just between Canada and Europe, which is the bulk of my international sales, that was an extra $132,000 of top line sales that I would not have gotten if I didn't take same products already selling and put in other marketplaces. And it's not even necessarily all the same products. It's basically taking the ones I thought would work the best and putting them up there.
So how did you know that that your products would be a good fit for the international market? Did you do any research to see what other products were selling in your market, and to kind of get an idea? Because that is what I want to give people here today is really the whole concept of doing this. But to a lot of people, it's scary because going international, it means a lot more, sometimes moving parts, but not even that. It's just jumping through the hoops to get to that point of selling internationally.
Right, exactly. So, all of us dream of getting sales off of Amazon.com.
Yes.
And so I think oftentimes naturally we look to, eBay, Walmart, Etsy, Shopify, maybe international. And if someone was to say, which should I do? My answer is yes, all of the above. They're all great. Now, the thing that I've come to learn is if I'm selling on Amazon in the US, Amazon International is basically the same, except it's a little drop down and the money sign is probably different.
Okay.
But like the mechanics, how the algorithm works, everything is like once you're up and running, it operates the same as how it does in the US. So whereas, in eBay, I might eke out a few $100s in sales.
Sure.
I had $132,000 in international sales last year on Amazon. And then, when you go create your own web store, you have to send traffic to it, which is a good thing to do. And you definitely should be doing long-term. Now, what I've come to learn is tools like Jungle Scout work internationally.
Yeah.
So I can take, let's say, my listing. Let's say I'm selling fishing lures. We'll just use that example.
Sure. Why not?
And why not? I can look on Amazon.ca or Amazon.co.uk or Amazon.de, all different Amazons in other countries. And I can type in however customer might look up my product. So in this example, let's say red fishing lures.
Sure.
And see what does the demand look like for red fishing lures. And, sometimes you got to take it with a little bit of a understanding of what's happening in that country. So like right now, as we record it, it's February. I would imagine other than hardcore ice fishermen, there's probably not a lot of people fishing in Canada. Right. But you can look at sales history and things like that and see, okay, in the summer months, probably people are out super excited about getting outside and going fishing or whatever their, outdoor thing they'd like to do is. And so now I can take actual data and say, are products similar to mine selling? And if they are, then it's at least worth trying out. Now, for me, it was about 15% of my sales in the US I got in Canada. For a lot of people, it tends to be more closer to 10%. But think of all the things you would try to do in your business to try to get 10% additional sales. Whereas instead of launching new products or, running Facebook ads or, spending extra on keywords that may not convert on Amazon, you could just take your listing, put it up there. And, once you jump through the hoops, they're not as scary as they may seem. You can be up and running and bringing in, disbursements every 2 weeks in other countries that you wouldn't have gotten this money if you didn't at least try it out.
Let me ask you this. So from your experience, because you have also worked with clients, that's also something that you do as another thing that you do on the side of your, your physical product business. It's another, service that you're now offering, but you work with some clients. And so like when you're doing that, and you're looking at other markets, not just your own, are you noticing that also the competition is different on those other marketplaces? Is it like less hijackers? Is it less, you don't need as many reviews? Is that part of it as well?
Yes, all great points. So the competition is definitely less.
Okay.
So you'll notice it's not going to be the same players on page one when you look something up. Oftentimes you see completely different companies, or if you do, you might see, let's say, a product that you see in both marketplaces. You might look on that product, and maybe in the US, there's, let's say, 20 variations. Let's say a water bottle. It's got a bunch of different color variations. There might be 7 color variations in Canada or in the UK or whatever. So you'll see less competition. And because sales aren't the same level as they are in the US, oftentimes it doesn't make sense for other sellers to do huge giveaways. Because let's be honest, there's people in the US that are buying page one by giving away 10, 15 units a day.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't happen in the other countries. So you're on a little bit more equal playing ground. And to your point about the reviews, Amazon's playing around with reviews and what reviews show. I'm actually finding sometimes my international reviews are showing up on my Amazon.com listings. Oh, wow. There was one day I almost had a heart attack because I had a product. Let's say it had, last time I checked, 84 reviews.
Okay.
A couple days later, or let's say a week later, I look and there's like 130 reviews. It was like, I got to put in a ticket with seller support. I'm not doing review manipulation. I'm not doing anything shady. Then I come to look and it was like, customers in other countries also thought this. And it was like my Canada reviews and my UK reviews. Well, when you start in the other countries, they're constantly, as we're recording this, they're constantly playing with what shows.
Okay.
But oftentimes your US reviews will start there.
Okay.
They may take those down once you get some reviews in that country, but if they do, they're doing it to everyone else. So let's say you get a handful of reviews. Well, the first page, if they're doing it where they're showing just local reviews on that first page, not everybody's got 3,000 reviews like they might have on the first page in the US. People might have like the top one might have 100 or something like that. So there's less reviews, less competition, and less dirty tactics.
Okay.
Because in the US, some people play the game of black hat tactics, thinking, oh, I'll just do what I can to get away with it, and then, rake in all I can. But then you go internationally, and they tend to not risk things the same way.
That's interesting. Okay, so I know that you and I talked about you actually being able to demonstrate what this looks like too, because I think it comes down to validating, right?
Sure.
Like for me personally, like I would be like, all right, Kev, this sounds great and all. Validate to me that I should do this, right? Mm-hmm. And so we don't have, all the time on this episode to basically do the whole validation process. It's actually better for you to show it and actually see what you're doing and kind of how you think through this process before you actually go and start applying for these, these scary, these different accounts and stuff and getting approved to sell in certain countries. So I know that you agreed to do a web class. So let's just talk about that real quick. And then what I do want to do is I want to give people just like an easy way that they can even think to themselves if this is something that they should consider. So, okay, you're going to do a web class. What is that going to be? I mean, I think I know what it's going to be. It's going to be you validating, but tell us a little bit more about that and how people can go and register for this. When you're listening to this, if you sign up, it will be live and you can give the date out. But then after the fact, Kev, you are also going to put up a replay so people can go and watch it even after the fact. So give us a little bit more about that.
Exactly. So I'm going to be hosting a web class, a live web class. It'll be on Thursday, February the 20th.
Okay.
Now, if you're listening to this in the future, you'll be able to get the streaming version of it.
Yep.
So you can watch it, so you won't miss anything. If you're like, oh, but I'm listening to this in March,
right.
No worries.
Right.
It's the concept of how it works is evergreen. So if somebody wanted to get access to that web class, all they have to do is go to maximizingecommerce.com/class and they can sign up, and I'll also give them a validation checklist
nice.
as a free gift. So that way they have something to at least get started on their own. So maybe they can, test it out a little bit even before the class. And then once they watch the class and they can see, okay, this is what I did. This is what Kevin's showing. This is how Kevin's done it to help others. So that way they can see, like, does this make sense for my business?
Yeah. Because I mean, to be honest with you, like we had talked, I mean, it's not for everyone at the time in their business. Like right now, you might be focusing all your time on launching your first product or maybe your next product, or maybe you're like, you know what, all my products are going pretty good right now. I'm going to start building out my external assets and kind of go down that road or build my email list. So I don't recommend people doing everything, but if the time is right for you, it's at least worth considering, or at least knowing the options there for you when you do decide to do this, because we all want low-hanging fruit. The other thing is, if you're going to ever sell your business, to have external channels, including international channels, that will increase the evaluation. Our good friends over at Quiet Light Brokerage, Joe Valley and Mark, they'll tell you, like, if you can diversify those streams, not just being dedicated on that one platform, you're going to do better, because it just reduces the amount of risk for an investor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had the same conversation with Joe Valley. So if you think about it, you're kind of getting it on both ends potentially. So on one end, you're more attractive to a buyer if you're looking to sell. And that buyer is going to say, well, how much is this business worth? So that's called the multiple. And it's basically the multiple times profit. Well, if you're bringing in more profit and then you're a little bit more attractive, and so you might get a higher multiple, you take the multiple times your profit, and that's what your business is worth. So you might sell it for considerably more because you got it on both ends if you are in that position of selling it. And to your point too, if you're looking at building those external assets, oftentimes that takes some money to do, especially if you want to speed up the process and run ads and things of that nature. And you might be saying, well, but do I have the funds to do it? Well, if you're bringing in additional cash flow from another country, you could take that money and basically increase your snowball for building out your external assets, because now you've got additional cash flow that you can put into other things to invest in your business too. So that's one of the nice things about selling internationally as well.
Yeah, I know one of the biggest concerns is generally too, like, okay, that means I have to order more inventory, and that means that I'm going to lock up inventory in another country. So why don't we just talk about that real quick? Because I know that you are a big fan of taking your existing inventory and doing some tests with that. So why don't you just talk about that real quick?
Yes. So what you could do is, let's say you have inventory in a warehouse. So you could take it from that warehouse and just send it up to, let's say, Amazon in Canada. I think Canada is one of the best ones to start with because it's right there. It's basically like a colder America. As we record this here in the winter time.
Right.
But the nice thing is, let's say you were going to order, an additional batch from your supplier. Let's say you have to order 1,000 units, and it's time that you're like, okay, I'm going to fill out the forms to register in Canada and things of that nature. Well, tell your supplier, instead of sending all 1,000 units to the US, maybe take 50 or 100 of them and send it up to Canada. So you don't have to say, oh my gosh, if my MOQ is 1,000, I have to order another minimum order quantity of another 1,000 to sell into another country. No, you just divvy it up. And, I've had people ask me this question, but, how do I do that? Just tell your supplier, I want X number to go to this address and X number to go to this address. They do it all the time. Freight forwarders do it all the time. Suppliers do it all the time. And if they don't know how to do that, I mean, contact me and I'll recommend people that can do it, because there's plenty of folks that do this in the freight forwarder world all the time.
Yeah. I want to actually highlight what you just said there as far as reach out to Kevin and ask questions, because Kevin is definitely very giving of his time. He does want to make sure that people are aware of what the possibilities are, but also what are the obstacles that you could be facing and how to really eliminate those, or at least make them easier to deal with. So definitely show up to the web class, because I know that you'll be there live. And even if you're not there live, reach out to Kevin, go there to the web class. And from there, I'm sure Kevin will have a way for you to ask questions. And this way here, he can address any of those, and even have you maybe say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is my market. Do you think that I have, an opportunity? And so I think that would be interesting. But I think you showing people and having people look over your shoulder as you're going through these, and validating these different markets, I think is going to be helpful. Because I think a lot of people get hung up on, will this work for me? Right. And I think a lot of times it can, but there's also different situations, different circumstances. And we do this a lot, even in Brand Creators Academy, where a lot of people get hung up on, should I niche down this far? My brand is, my market is in, outdoors, but I want to go into fishing. Should I don't know if the numbers are right. So, they just need help validating that it will potentially work for them. We can't guarantee anything, but if we can at least help validate it, and that's why you do have a checklist, you do have the web class, and that's really just there to allow people to see and identify if it's the right fit for them. And then, of course, if it is the right fit for you, Kevin can help you. And yes, he does have a service that helps you with that. But if you don't want to hire him, you don't have to either. He's there to help you. So I just want to throw that out there, Kev.
Yeah, exactly. And, the way I look at it is, I started out like many people listening to this podcast, where I stumbled on the Amazing Seller podcast.
Yep.
And somehow, some way, I said, let's do this. I'm going to figure it out. And I figured it out because I had virtual mentors. I didn't know you at the time, but you were my virtual mentor. And, I had lots of other folks like that too, that I listened to podcasts and, pieced it all together. And so this is my way of giving back too, because, I really look at it as a rising tide will lift all ships. And if we can rise the tide and do better, we're all going to do better in this. And the way I see Amazon going, they really see there's growth internationally, and they're pushing more and more that way. So it's like, get your flag in the sand, so to speak, right now, while it's not as competitive.
No, I love that. All right. So we're going to wrap up here shortly, but I wanted you to kind of, again, maybe give people a little bit of, what they can do right now, even before you would jump on the web class. So what is something that they can do like right now in their own business, their own market? What can they do to give them an idea of if their products would even be a good fit for those marketplaces, or what marketplace would be the best to start with? You know what I mean?
If they're in the US, my recommendation is start with Canada. And again, it's just because it's close. The sales tax works similar, although it's simpler when you learn how it actually works. It's similar to how it works in the US, whereas VAT, once you get into Europe, right now, everything's kind of still the same now that Brexit just happened.
Yeah.
But long term, that could change. And so there's a lot of kind of unknowns there. But I wouldn't let that keep people from going into Europe. But I think get your feet wet in Canada before going into Europe. Now, if you're already in Canada and you're thinking about going into Europe, I would go into the UK first.
Okay.
And then you can still sell in the rest of Europe as of now that we're recording this. And Amazon's even saying it will be through minimum the end of the year that you can sell out of the UK into the rest of Europe. So that's the nice thing is there's, so much opportunity out there. So the one piece I would say, if someone's listening to this, is say, you know what, at least look and see, do similar products to yours sell? Are they getting any sales at all? And if they are, just think of it this way. Someone, as from the time they're listening to this to the time they go on, amazon.ca or .co.uk or wherever and type in their, main keyword, some customer there typed in their main keyword and potentially bought their competitor's product, but would have bought their product if their product is available for sale there.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's an easy thing to do right now. And again, whether you want to go to Jungle Scout, which you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Jungle Scout and Greg, and they've created a really awesome suite of tools. And if you haven't grabbed a copy yet, you can go to theamazingseller.com/JS and you can grab it through my affiliate link and you'll get a discount. See, Kev, I had to just, I had to share that affiliate link there just to let people know they can buy me a cup of coffee. That's how it works.
Right. Exactly.
And I've had a lot of people come up to me and go, Scott, how'd you like the coffee I bought you? I love it. So that's pretty awesome. But regardless, you can even just go to Amazon and then go to that marketplace and then just do a little search and you can kind of see like the reviews and you can see, the BSR. Is there any difference in the BSR over in those other countries? I haven't really looked into that extensively. I think it's pretty much weighted the same, correct? Right?
Yeah, it's very similar. The categories are pretty much the same. They might call them something slightly different in that country, but it's going to be pretty much the same structure of, you have categories and then subcategories, and then within the main category, there's the BSR rankings. So it all works the same. One other thing just people might notice, and this is one little random thing. So if you go and if you look up your product, look up your brand name, you might see it, especially in Canada. This tends to happen more in Canada than in Europe. You might see your product for sale and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Well, it's what's called a gray listing. And so it's probably, if you take, in Canada, it's basically $1 is about 1.3 Canadian dollars. So if you're selling your product for $20 in the US, theoretically, it's about 26 Canadian dollars, although you can oftentimes sell it for a couple bucks more. So let's just say you can sell it for 30 Canadian dollars. You might see it on sale for like 70 Canadian dollars. That usually means that someone has just copied the listing and put it up there, and they're really selling it FBM if they even get a sale. Now, sometimes people are like, well, I don't know. Is that going to muddy the water? Is that going to make it gray? No, because if you send in FBA inventory, who do you think Amazon wants to give the buy box to? You. I can tell you those sellers come and go. Like Amazon knows it's a problem. They might add 1 million listings. I'm not joking. This is what a rep from Amazon told me. And I sometimes have 8 quote unquote hijackers on my listings in the other country. And guess who never gets the buy box? Any of them. So I don't even worry about them. They're here today, gone tomorrow. New one comes, new one goes. But if Amazon can sell something prime for a reasonable price versus someone that's selling it 2.5 to 3 times what I'm selling it for, and it's going to take a month to get there from somewhere else, I'm always going to get the buy box. So if you see that, don't worry about it at all.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And that's a good tip. So guys, here's what I'm going to do, because there's only so much that we can kind of go through here. But I think the first thing you need to do is exactly that. You need to do like a little deep dive. Take 15 minutes and go see your products or the types of products and see if they're selling internationally already. And if they are, then yes, you can capitalize on that. Now, if, like you said, Kev, if you go and you look for your own product and you see it there, well, someone is selling, technically, or already has proven that. So then you can kind of use that and say, well, yeah, it's kind of my product already. So they've kind of already validated it for you, even a little bit more, but I wouldn't worry about that as being a hijacker. Cause like you said, you're genuinely going to be getting the buy box. So, all right, cool. The web class, let's give another mention there. How can people get signed up? And I actually have a bonus I think that we should include here, Kevin. I didn't even talk to you about this.
I don't even know about this. I'm curious to hear about it.
You're going to like this bonus. So, and this is why, guys. And this is how we operate here on this podcast and on this show. And you know that. And Kevin, he knows it as well. And that's how he operates, is no matter if you ever gave Kevin or I $1, you're going to walk away with good information and you can do what you want with it. But we want to give you the resources so you can just go make it happen. And if you need help along the way, well, you can reach out to Kevin and he can give you that. And that's why he's agreed to do the web class. But I do have a pretty sweet bonus here, Kevin. You're going to be like, wow, why didn't I think of that? Well, you didn't think of it.
Why didn't I think of it?
I thought of it for you. So tell people first how they can go sign up for the web class and the date again. And then from there, I will throw on that bonus that we're going to do here.
Great. I mean, honestly, this is not staged. I have no idea what you're going to say.
I know you don't.
I'm very curious. So if you go to maximizingecommerce.com/class, you can sign up for the web class and you'll get the bonus download with the checklist of how to validate your product. And in addition, in the class, we're going to walk through all that on Thursday, February 20th. And if you're listening to this past Thursday, February 20th, you can still catch the streaming version of it as well. And so now I'm just very
chomping
intrigued,
at the bit, aren't you?
Chomping at the bit.
All right. So here's what we're going to throw in, Kev. Now, you guys may or may not know, but Kevin is also our event coordinator, our mastermind behind Brand Accelerator Live. It's our live event. We did one last year in September, and we're going to do it again here this coming September. And it was amazing. We had well over 200 people there that came together and networked and learned. And Kevin actually presented as well on going internationally. And I gotta be honest, there was a lot of great feedback that came back. They said, wow, this wasn't just like, oh, here's what you can possibly do. It was actually nuts and bolts and showing people like even how to apply for some of these countries and this, that, and the other thing. And at the end of the session, we always opened it up for Q&A, and that was really, really valuable. Now, the only way that people have been able to get this recording or any of our recordings is to purchase our recordings or attend a live event. So Kev, why don't we give them your live presentation that we have video of? Why don't we do that?
Wow. I hadn't even thought of that, but yes.
It's good, right?
We're going to also, if they sign up for the web class, they're also going to get the, my talk from Brand Accelerator Live. Wow.
Yeah. That's a pretty sweet bonus right there.
That's a pretty nice bonus. You know?
Yeah. So I would say definitely go sign up, maximize e-commerce. Maximizing.
We're always doing it.
Yeah, maximizing ecommerce.com/class and go and do that. And then also I'll link everything up here in the show notes, which this episode is 788. So theamazingseller.com/788. And so I really think you guys should go sign up for the web class. You'll get all of that great information that Kevin's going to share with you, but also you'll get the live recording from Brand Accelerator Live with Kevin Sanderson rocking the stage and answering a ton of great questions. And I believe it's just over 50 minutes. So it's just almost an hour. And it's awesome. And then, go join us at Brand Accelerator Live, guys. BrandAcceleratorLive.com. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Go get a ticket. All right, Kev, that's it. That is going to wrap up this episode. You got anything else you want to share here before we wrap this baby up officially?
Yeah. So what I would say, the big thing is what I've come to learn is there's one way to guarantee a result in business, and that's to do nothing, because your result is guaranteed to be nothing.
Yes.
Every time I've taken that risk to, try my first product, to send my first inventory into Amazon, to go into international marketplace, to do other things, you know what? It's good things happen on the other side of fear. And not that, people are necessarily like having anxiety and fear about going into another marketplace, but sometimes there is a little bit of like, uncertainty, what's going to happen. And so, at least looking to see, are there breadcrumbs that lead you down the path of other people are making some sales? So maybe it's at least worth trying to see if I can get some sales, and maybe I can add another 10, 20, 30% in my business by adding in another, channel or two by going international.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense to me. And I love it. If you don't do anything, you can't get anything, right? Like it's like, you gotta do something. And I think this is one of those things. And, whether you're ready or not right now, you still should know if it's an opportunity that you could potentially even use down the line. So I just really think that people should at least validate their market and see if there's a potential there for them. And that would be like step one. All right. And step two would be obviously going to the web class, understanding it, seeing more examples of how it's done. And then that way there, you can get a better understanding, and then watch that live recording of Kevin at Brand Accelerator Live, and that'll answer a lot of those questions as well. So Kevin, I want to thank you once again. This has been awesome. This has been amazing. I'm sure that we will have you back on, because as we get closer to Brand Accelerator Live, we're going to have a lot more updates and news that we're going to be sharing. And I know that you're working on that behind the scenes as well. So once again, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and sharing some of your wisdom and really setting up this web class. So once again, man, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's officially wrap this up. We're going to do it with Kevin. He didn't know I was going to do this either. We're going to wrap this up together. All right, guys, you ready, Kev?
Let's do it.
All right, this is how we do it over here. All right, guys, remember, as always, I'm here for you. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to. Come on, say it with me. Say it loud. Say it proud. Kevin's going to say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Take action. Have an awesome, amazing day. And I'll see you right back here on the next episode. Not bad, Kev. Not bad.
Thank you.
Hey, one last thing before you go. If you can do me a quick favor, and that is, can you head over to iTunes and leave me a review over there? Let me know, how has this podcast helped you in one way, shape, or form? I read every single one of them, and they really give me the fuel. They give me the energy to continue to show up and really help more people. So I would love to hear from you. And I'm actually going to read one right here from Sadesi1224. And the title of this review was Amazing Content, High Energy. Went on to say, warning, do not listen to this podcast before bed. It will have you up for hours. Great information, great tactics, massive amount of content, truly something for everyone. Love the energy. Thanks for all the hard work and passion poured into this. Well, I want to thank Sadesi1224, but again, I would love to hear what this podcast has done for you. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Subscribe. This way here, you never miss an upcoming episode. So if you can do that, that would be amazing.